welcome to the last session zero of the regular Roguelike Rumbles season 3. We're very excited. The next time we do a session zero, it will be for the championship match, which will be coming this January. But first, we need to find out who our last champion of season 3 is. So this is session zero, where you'll get a chance to get to know all of the fabulous heroes that we have playing in our next game, which will be December 12th, 8 p.m. at the Roguelike Tavern, or streaming live to Twitch. So I hope you all will enjoy it. I will be your hostess with the mostest, but today I pass over session zero to the power and whims of DM Steve in his persona Chief Festivus Officer Bombasticus something.
Silvermane, indeed. Chief Festivities Officer, Bombasticus Silvermane. Okay. Welcome all. Welcome viewers at home. Welcome players to, again, our final session zero of the year. Very excited to have you all here. We find ourselves on a cool, crisp, late autumn afternoon in Las Asimas. This year has been a hot one, and it is a lovely, delightful, refreshing break after many months of blasting heat in and around the Roguelike Tavern, the greatest tavern in the city of Las Asimas. As the days draw shorter and night grows longer, the unavoidable fact that winter draws in is present on a great many people's minds. Teleportations to homelands leave the Las Asimas extraplanar teleport on a regular basis, and the city empties a bit as people return to the chillier climes from whence they initially hail. But there's still plenty of life here in Las Asimas, and there's still plenty to do at the Roguelike Tavern. So much to do, in fact, that today the Roguelike Tavern is double booked. Two events are transpiring here at the Roguelike Tavern today. One, a sort of preliminary meet and greet informational session for our next round of champions for the Roguelike Rumble, and a rather ghastly affair that we shall address in just a moment's time. But players, may I ask you, please, to roll initiative for me, just so that we can see who arrives when. I will drop this in the chat, but go ahead and I'll just call out your personal names for initiative in the order that I have you on my screen, and we will go from there. Markeia, what do we have?
I have rolled very mightily for this very first roll. I'm very, very proud, and I am certain that no one else will beat this roll. So that's a 3.
Oh, big 3. Off to a.
I'm sorry, a 4. I forgot to add my initiative.
It's shrieking start. An absolutely gas start. Thank you, Markeia. All right, awesome. Taylor, what did you get?
We've got a 17 plus 2, 19.
19.
I believe the 4 has it.
Yes.
I must concede.
Golf rules for sure. All right, Reuben, what is your initiative?
I thought I was going to be the fastest, but so shockingly, the character that you'll meet in a second isn't the fastest, and I rolled an 8 total.
Okay.
6 plus 2. 6 plus 2.
6 plus 2 for 8. And last but not least, Trevor, what did you roll?
I, of course, am the fastest. So I have an 18, even though I am not the fastest. I am still the fastest.
All right. Excellent. 18. All right. There it is in the chat for your player benefit. We find ourselves, camera focuses from a sort of series of late autumn, chilly Las Asimas vistas, holiday decorations up at the various marketplaces, mighty steeds pulling sledges across conjured trails of snow that sort of melt into puddles very shortly thereafter, because it is still a Mediterranean climate. And we find ourselves inside the Roguelike Tavern, where there is a tremendous profusion of undeath. The family reunion of one Yggdrasil the Grim, a nefarious and notorious necromancer within Las Asimas, has been booked for this day. Tremendous numbers of long dead family members of Yggdrasil the Grim are just sort of hobnobbing and ghastly arguing about politics and how Las Asimas maybe was better a couple of years ago before all the artisan noodle bars started moving in, and before the Scriveners strike of last year and how tough it's been since then. But it's all a bunch of like ghosts and zombies and stuff. So all these arguments just sort of take the form of and a very self-satisfied Yggdrasil the Grim lording over his assembled family members, wedging their way through this mass of argumentativeness and decay. Taylor, can you tell us what we see when your character walks through the door and shoves their way to the bar?
Absolutely. You see a sort of the 1950s idea of a 65-year-old man. So absolutely. With grizzled salt and pepper hair, some little sideburns. He is quite clearly a farmer of some kind, got mud on his boots, which he very politely kicks out at the front door. Some very well-weathered overalls with a very sturdy Sir John Deere jacket over it. Hat pulled back a little bit, clearly been out in the sun quite a bit. There is a sadness about him, but also a grim resolve. This is a person who accepts the world for what it is, I suppose. We see before us Arthur Old McGrimblade from Old McGrimblade of Lore. He with just a little bit of a rainbow knitted something or other sticking out from under the red plaid shirt. And he kind of shuffles in there and is taken aback by the smell, pulls out a hanky and very, without any sort of regard for social anything, covers his nose as he passes a couple of the more pungent relatives and looks around and looks at a particularly sort of smooth-looking ghoul and says, Excuse me, is the roguelike? Is this the roguelike? Am I in the right place? My God, look at that.
And this ghoul just sort of like points a desiccated finger up at the sign on the wall that does in fact say the roguelike. And as you approach the bar, you almost make it to an empty spot before a ghost flies up through the floor and you sort of walk through its chilly ectoplasm before taking your spot at the bar. Behind the bar, you see none other than Magnus Bolt Thrower in a what anybody from customer service will recognize as we are having an argument but keeping our voices down and our postures up so that the customers don't know we're having an argument with none other than Bombasticus Silvermane. Bombasticus is not whispering particularly well at all, just saying, we have this place reserved at noon. These ghouls and zombies and ghosts and wraiths have been here for 4 straight days, Magnus. Get them out of here, because otherwise I'm going to ask for my deposit back. And Magnus Bolt Thrower just says, listen, I can't. They're spending so much money, and we also ordered so many brains for this event, and we haven't even made a dent in our supply. So we've really got to like let them get it out of their system for sure. My God, man. And then Magnus sort of like pushes Bombasticus aside and approaches you, old McGrimblade, and says, "Hi, so sorry for the wait. Can I get you anything? Are you here for the Rumbles?"
Yeah, it's gonna happen or what?
Well, in a day's time or so. But please have a seat. Make yourself comfortable.
Well, all right. You got any of that mezcal back there, fancy city boy, or what?
I've got something that'll put some smoke in your lungs, absolutely. And he pours you a mezcal that has, you see on the bottle, it's just called the Dragon's Heart Mezcal, and it's a pechuga. It has distillation imbued with dragon protein, and it is very smoky, very delicious. And as you sort of knock back this first shot, Trevor, can you tell us what we see as your character makes their way into the bar from the far end, away from the service area?
Strangely enough, you don't really see him because he's too short, kind of just weaving in and out, and then quietly up next to this strange elderly farmer. If you were looking from the other side of the bar, you just see a staff. That's it. Just a staff. And then this small little 4-fingered hand reaches up, and it's black with these bright yellow stripes, and they look a little moist and kind of sticky. And you just kind of see this hand waving, and in between 2 fingers is a little silver coin, and you just hear this, "Hello, could I have a nice glass of crisp white wine, please?"
Magnus and Bombasticus, sort of both in unison, kind of like a horizontal Brady Bunch door situation, stick their heads over the bar to behold what is attached to this hand. And Magnus, already having a delightful Sauvignon Blanc in a glass, sort of reaching down in your direction. What do we see? Yeah,
there's a 2.5-foot tall. So the staff is incredibly taller than he is. A 2.5-foot tall grung, little tree frog looking fellow, bipedal, has a long staff and just a simple purple sash around, and no shoes, no real clothing other than that, just a small purple, like not really loincloth, but kind of like slightly longer battle skirt, sash, little necklace of what appears to be skull-shaped beads. And on one of his side is this just glorious tattoo of clouds in this dark purple and green. And he just kind of looks up and goes, "Hello, my name is Rico. Rico Che. Not Rick O'Shea, but Rico Che."
Rico, well, please, again, sorry about the crowding. Here's a, and Magnus pulls a high chair out from behind the bar and sticks it on the ground, just so that you can have a sort of like level with the bar seat if you would like it. Bombasticus
climbs up there, puts the coin down, holds his hand out to shake.
Yes, Bombasticus reaches out and gives your hand a shake.
That's too bad.
Yeah, and Bombasticus immediately pulls his hand back and says, "I feel a bit funny," and then just falls over for a moment or two, having been summarily poisoned by your noxious touch.
Just casually sipping his wine, talking to one of his shoulders. "No, I'm already here. No, we're already going to do what you suggested. It'll be okay."
And Magnus just says, "Wow, okay, well, I guess I'm stepping over this guy for the next 10 minutes. Anyway, excuse me, sorry, yes, more brains? All right, you got it." And from the doorway, our third champion enters. Reuben, what do we see as your character enters the bar?
So as the previous entrant was almost too small to see, it is impossible not to see this 6.5-foot tall turtle man walk in through the door, as you can see with my shirt going on here. A turtle in a jaunty feathered hat. He has sort of a mirror sheen about him, that sort of extends over his shell and his exterior that sort of repels things as he moves past. He wields a large leather-bound book in his underarm that is sort of carried on like a sling bag almost over one shoulder. And he walks in, and he is immediately bombastic and loud as he enters, and he says, it's a good thing I showed up on time. And he makes his way. As he moves, any sort of dead entity is sort of repelled at his approach, as some sort of protection magic appears to be over his personage that protects him from perhaps evil and good, who knows. And he walks towards the bar, sees the poisoned man on the ground, and says, before I order a drink, I think I'll go ahead and take care of this. And weaves a little bit of his magic and pulls some of the ice from the well and turns that into water and tries to wash the guy's hands off so that he can wake back up and before he heads up to the bar and prepares to order his beverage.
Guys, they're all around me. Oh, that's right. I'm in a bar full of zombies. That's right. Excuse me. Hi, sir. So sorry. There's a fair amount of personages present here. Can I get you anything? Perhaps can I interest you in any brains? Really trying to offload a lot of these brains.
I think I'll pass on the brains for right now.
Cool.
I ate before I came. Thank you very much. But I think I will have a dark and stormy if that's available.
Dark and stormy, you got it. Big fan. And he pours some ice and some ginger beer and some lime juice, and then a nice little dark rum float on the top. A little sort of like animate umbrella sort of flits its way like a jellyfish from a little container on the bar and just sort of elegantly dips itself into the drink as Magnus sort of hands it in your direction. And in his other hand, he's got just a martini glass with a big sort of cartoon floating brain in a viscous green liquid that he hands to a very elegant looking zombie who tries to pick it up, and then her arm just falls off at the shoulder because it doesn't work like it used to. And Bombasticus walks up and says, excuse me, I believe I received your application for the Rumbles. Would you remind me of your name, please, sir?
Of course. By the way, I will, of course, be paying for this. And he just slams like a small treasure chest on the table. Keep the tab open and then, you didn't notice it before, but he's got a little familiar on his shoulder. And the familiar says, Arrrchie Pellago. That'd be Arrrchie Pellago.
All right. Okay. He takes this big treasure chest and adds it to a huge box full of treasure chests that has like little placard cards that separate last initials and sort of wedges it in the P section with some degree of difficulty, absolutely. And last but not least, Markeia, can you please tell us what we see as your character enters the bar?
Sheraton Creme has been there the entire time.
Has
been behind the bar. And as the camera pans down around the corner, you see a little hand, a halfling rogue hand, reach into Arrrchie Pellago's treasure chest that was just put there. Can I do a sleight of hand?
Absolutely you can.
Okay, so I got a 15.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly
it's out of my hand now, right? So it's not my check.
Yeah, it certainly beats the passive perception of a harried bar manager. Absolutely, yes.
Well, then I'm gonna choose something that would actually have Arrrchie's name on it, or something that would be like if there was like if like in the top of the treasure chest it would be like property of Arrrchie Pellago. Mm-hmm. I want to take that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're able to sort of pull a little sort of like Las Asimas issued like letter of marque that allows Arrrchie Pellago to fly his magic carpet to and from places. and you're able to sort of nick that out of the top of the treasure chest.
Yeah. And if by chance Arrrchie did notice that, Sheraton will do like a little look over her shoulder and give like the cutest little wink as she then puts it on like a locket like around her neck. So Sheraton Creme is a rogue halfling. She's a Marca hospitality though. So she's wearing like this elaborate purple apron, and she has purple locks that go down to about her waist. Her complexion is this shares my own. She is adorable, mischievous, and very much revolutionary. And she has emblazoned on the apron is her restaurant, the Cosy Croissant.
The Cosy Croissant. I love that. I'm just now trying to figure out where in Fantasy Burbank the Cozy Croissant would be best suited.
It
You
is
need a
in
lot of foot traffic.
The first location is in Sun Valley. It was very, very hard to get that first location started, and I have an offshoot in Burbank.
in the burbs on the bank. I love it. Yeah, incredible. Okay, we have met our dramatis personae, and Bombasticus again sort of like nudges his way past Magnus and into sort of a conference with the four of you, and he says, all right, I'm so sorry to have to tell you that the profusion of undead that we find ourselves confronted with goes all the way down into the magically rearranging basements where our training facilities usually are. So we are going to have to encourage these, shall we say, well past their reservation diners to make some space for us. If you see, and he points around the bar to several sort of like pretty conspicuous like skulls mounted on like little sconces all around the bar that are just sort of pouring this vacuous green smoke out of their eye sockets that are full of like pinpricks of yellowish pale light. It says, those are what allow the host of this interloping event to keep their family members here bound in perdurable political disagreement. And if we are able to, shall we say, remove those, we may well have the facility to ourselves, and we can handle requisite paperwork and publicity deals as the case may be. May I depend upon you, my friends, to help us rid this place of this scourge of undeath?
I mean, if you need to, yes. I personally kind of like the smell.
Sure. Do you like them in your dressing room, though? Because that's going to be the ultimate big problem that we have.
Oh, no. I've got the bucket outside. I'm okay.
Good. Anybody else? Anybody else feel like helping?
Old McGrimblade is has given up on the idea that this drink might have been part of the package for showing up, and is very like begrudgingly filling out a check. And like, all right, do we need to be subtle about it or what?
Well, I will certainly have your back if you are not subtle and the members of the family object. I am, after all, a member of the Synod of Sorcerers, blessed with phenomenal cosmic power, and just sort of like thunderclaps happen behind him. So if you trigger a zombie horde dash on your person, I will help ameliorate the problem. But I personally want to maintain the sort of professional relationship between the Synod and the roguelike, so I can't be seen to be the one destroying the bastions of undeath, you see.
Got it. You need somebody else to do dirty work. Got it. We can handle that.
I don't know if you have noticed, as Sheraton like shows off her apron again, but as a fellow restaurateur, I will not have this rot and this mold within where we are going to be eating and drinking and battling. You shall have as she holds up my hand crossbow.
Excellent, excellent. A hand crossbow and a sneer from this fellow, and a bucket outside from our froggy friend here, Mister Pellago. May I count on your support?
I don't know what you need from me. I'm not the talking kind of type. I'm here for the rough and the tumble, but if we're going to be having a little bit of that, I can step in, surely. I could try to convince them to leave. It tends to not go so well for me.
I think you'll be able to convince them to leave by destroying the things that are keeping them here. And up and awake from their eternal rest. Yggdrasil the Grim loves watching his family argue. It gives him a great deal of catharsis, and we should send them to their final resting places, such that he will vacate this place, and we can start just airing it out to get the stink out before the tournament of champions. The health inspector, yes, the health inspector, who is able, by the way, to expunge all poison and diseases with his holy magic, but chooses not to, which I find, frankly, running a city is a big endeavor. I know very little about it, but it feels sort of uneven. Anyway, we'll jump back into our initiative order. Old McGrimblade. Can you tell me a little bit about how you go about dispatching one of these bastions of undeath that is plaguing the interior of this restaurant?
Right. Well, since he's been given permission to just kind of go for it, he whips out something he got from his neighbor Vern, who is a multi-hyphenate of sorts, not a stableman, but he is quite the tinkerer. And so from behind his back, old McGrimblade pulls out Vern's spud gun, which of course is a potato launcher made from various gnome technologies and some sort of, I don't know, bugbear farts or something. He didn't tell me exactly how it works. He just shows me what button to press, and begins loading a rather fat Yukon potato into the
incredible
into the thing, and using the stats that I got from the crossbow light. Holds it with both hands, and I'm sure the range is wrong for this room, but we're in the middle of something, so we're not going to worry about that. And takes aim at one of these hideous, very unhealthy-looking stanchions over there, and says, "Oh, look, a bald eagle!" and fires away.
A loud, tremulous thunk, thunk, shoots as a potato flies across the room. Tell me what you get to hit.
We got a 14.
14 is more than enough to hit a stationary skull mounted on the wall that is glowing. An easy target if ever there was one. What, if anything, would you like to do to ensure that this skull is destroyed?
Oh, well, hope for better than not, I guess.
Hey, yeah, roll damage for me.
Here, let's do it. Let's see there. That's a 3, and I've neglected to write down whether or not I add a proficiency bonus to that or not.
You'll add your dexterity bonus, not your proficiency bonus.
Dexterity? In that case, Sonny, we're looking at a 5.
5. Yeah. The hit points of a solitary piece of rather decayed bone, not very prodigious. This potato flies across, and as it is like within an inch of this beacon of undeath, you see it start to sort of like wither and flake away, and sort of like big long bits of tuber runners like grow out of it and wither and die. This is all in bullet time, because fundamentally the potato hits this skull really, really hard, and it explodes. And a shrieking wail rends its way through the interior of the Roguelike Tavern, as 20 or 30 of the zombies all turn to each other and go, and perhaps in subtitles it just says, "I just can't with you. I never should have come to this kind of a thing." And a group of them starts shambling out of the front door. Rico.
Well done. Tinker Taylor shoots potatoes.
Tinker Taylor shoots potatoes. That's, oh boy, Markeia, that's awesome.
I'm gonna write that down.
I love that.
Gonna write that down.
All right, Rico, what do you what do you have what do you have against these flaming skulls?
Kind of just grudgingly set down this fine, delicate glass of wine. Is there one closest to the door?
Yeah, they're sort of like if you know the interior of the bar, there's like one on either side of the bar, and one by the front door, and one over the little alcove that goes to the latrines.
I'll very just calmly, just kind of like adjust the staff, start climbing the wall,
Ah,
and just go up and around toward the door, and I'm just going to pry it off the wall and throw it outside.
great. Give me we'll call that an athletics or a sleight of hand to just sort of like wrench it free of its sconce. Or if you want to do an unarmed strike to sort of like punch it off the wall, that's also a very viable option.
No, I'll just use sleight of hand again. I am a shadow monk.
Sure.
I am very skilled and very wise. So I just kind of put my hand into the eyes and the nose socket and just pop it off with a 22.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And then just kind of like, oh, excuse me, and then throw it right outside, watching it just shatter into the parking lot.
Yeah, shatters into the parking lot. The cold, pitiless, uncaring face of the sun burns away the necromantic magic suffused within, and you see a whole horde of ghosts just sort of all begin to swirl around each other as bickering becomes more and more intense. And they all sort of start disappearing through various points through the wall, leaving vapor and ectoplasm in their wake. Incredible.
No, I told you. No, it would be perfectly fine to do this. The problem is they don't have any blood. Just continually talking to his shoulder.
Continually talking to his shoulder. So spooky. All right, up next, Arrrchie Pellago. Please tell me how you help old Bombasticus Silvermane with his overcrowding problem.
Sure. So, my first reaction is, oh, this sure is a crowded bar. And so my first reaction is to try to clear out the people who are closest to me. I did make a lot of assumptions earlier of pre-cast spells and pre-done abilities. I am an abjuration wizard, and so a lot of that has to do with preparation. But in the moment, there's nothing quite like a magic missile. And the form that takes out of Arrrchie Pellago is he reaches into his long coat that is covered in seaweed and various bits of detritus, and he pulls out a 3-barreled wand that looks vaguely like a blunderbuss. And he points it directly in front of him, and 3 arcane shots spin off in various directions and hit 3 of the different skulls around the room.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah, the expectation of a straight line coming out of the end of a blunderbuss met with 3 of them sort of flying off like Gundam missiles all over the place. Certainly a shock. A couple of these skulls just as more shrieks of the undead as they are dragged back to Orcus are rent apart. A group of ghouls begins just rapidly scrabbling, digging at the floor to dig themselves back into the grave dirt from whence they came. And Magnus just goes, man, damn it. As they dig a tunnel out and away from the place where they had been bound. Last but not least, let's get Sheraton to finish off the last remaining cadre of undeath here.
Are there any more hideous looking skulls of magic power on the wall, or is it just the remaining shamblers?
Yes, there is one, just sort of looking around. It looks like that magic missile took care of a bunch of them, but there is one sort of like if the back wall of the bar is like a mantelpiece, there's one that would be the sort of like centerpiece of said mantelpiece.
Well then, nimble quick. I am going to use my dash bonus action to do the hop, skip, and jumpies all over the shamblers towards the skeleton, towards the skull. It's like a flippy here, a flippy there, a bounce off the top of a moldy skull. Well, I'm going to do a triple axel, pull out a rapier, and strike the final skull.
Yeah, roll to hit. Roll for an attack.
That is a 22.
Yeah, it so prodigiously does this rapier hit this skull. Yeah, go ahead. Let's roll for damage. The hit points are very low, but it's about showing off what you can do. Would love to see. I think we can consider Magnus, who you have sort of sailed past in so doing, an ally within 5 feet. If you'd like to apply sneak attack,
I believe I will, because why not? And then, of course, while Sheraton is being showered with the confetti bone dust, she looks over at her fellow compatriots, soon to be adversaries, but only in the ring, not in real life. And she gives each of them a very saucy wink. And the damage is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 points of damage.
13 points of damage. Extremely enough to rend this skull asunder and allow the magic trapped within to come pouring out. The last group of shambling zombies all sort of look at each other and go, again, little subtitles underneath saying, man, this party feels like it's dying down. Do you want to go ahead over to David and Bastrero's? And they all sort of shamble out the door. And Magnus just says, well, I do guess it is for the best. We've really run up the tap, and he pulls out from the big like drawer of little treasure chests. He pulls Yggdrasil the Grimm's treasure chest and puts it on the bar and says, "All right, we got to settle up. And honestly, I prepaid for a lot of these brains, so I'm gonna need at least 60% of what I paid if you haven't gotten it back to me yet." And Yggdrasil the Grim says, "Haha, no! My ride share is here! Ha ha ha!" And he scampers out the front door, and Magnus just goes, "Knight of the Walking Tabs, son of a bitch!" And that is where we will close our introductory session as Bombasticus puts all the contracts in front of you, assuring you that you will be resurrected if you die, that eternal glory beholds the winner of the Roguelike Rumble as we pull back into the crisp, cool, late fall day of Las Asumas. And that's where we'll call it for today. Hooray!
Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for popping in to get to know these heroes. If you found someone who struck your fancy, know that you can visit the Kofi and send them a health potion, a Lair action, or a magic item ahead of Thursday's battle, which will again be Thursday, December 12th at the Roguelike Tavern, live and in person. We do recommend seating begins at 7 if you're going to come to the live show. The Twitch stream will go on about 7:45 when initiative rolls take place, and we hope to see all of you there, whether in the real world or virtually. Thanks so much. Bye.
Goodbye.